Miami has hit what I like to call blue flame status, which just means that the city is hotter than ever before, made apparent by the large wave of new residents that have arrived recently. As one of the fastest growing major cities in the US for the past 2 decades, it honestly seems that migration has been on overdrive these past few months, and it's showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. However, I've traveled a lot, and I can tell you firsthand that Miami is a place like no other, truly unique in a lot of ways. Let's just leave it at that. So if you're planning on moving to Miami and not sure what to expect, then this video is perfect for you, as I'm going to go over 5 things you should know before moving to Miami. Oh, and stick around until the end of the video for a bonus number 6. As always, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about Miami real estate, and stay up to date with my weekly videos by clicking that notification bell, and give this video a like to help support the channel. Moving on, the most obvious place to start, in my opinion, is the main language factor that you're going to encounter in many parts of Miami, which is of course Spanish. This is of no surprise given the close proximity Miami has to Latin America, but what you may find surprising is that over 70% of the population is Hispanic here, and when you compare that to the rest of the US, which averages at about 20% Hispanic, you start to see how different Miami truly is to a lot of other major cities. I'm gonna go as far as to say that Miami is one of the few, if not the only city in the country where you can get by, and in many cases thrive, speaking only Spanish. The reason this is important is that the Hispanic culture is embedded in the DNA of our city, and it's unlike any other US city I have ever seen. From the food to the lifestyle, even to the way business is conducted, everything stems from that Latin foundation. So if this is not something you're accustomed to, then you may want to brush up on your Spanglish, which is a mix of Spanish and English made famous by our Miami residents. But don't stress it. It's going to take some time to acclimate, but if you ask me, it's one of the best parts of living here and what makes Miami, well, so Miami. Number 2, South Beach is not Miami. This one always gets me. I'm always surprised about how little people know about the rest of Miami and how much they confuse these two. If you're a sports fan, you may recall LeBron James' famous quote in his decision interview where he stated,
"In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat."
Okay, so the thing is, the American Airlines Arena, which what it was called back then, it's not called that now, but that's besides the point, is actually located in downtown Miami and not in South Beach. Now, we tend to give LeBron some slack here, seeing that it's only a short 10-minute drive from the MacArthur Causeway to South Beach, and also given the fact that he brought 2 championships to the city. So LeBron, thank you for that. But the point still remains, South Beach is usually all people know. And look, I love South Beach, but it's not a realistic portrayal of what Miami has to offer, and it does a disservice to the rest of the city from what you're going to experience here in Miami. If you ask any Miamian how many times they have gone to the beach this year, and I mean the actual physical beach, many of them will tell you 0. Of course, there are always going to be exceptions, but the reality is that there is a whole other world, lifestyle, and overall feel that you will find in many of these neighborhoods located in the mainland. From Wynwood's more art and hipster vibe to the financial mecca that is Brickell, these neighborhoods have something else to offer and has a little bit of everything for everyone. And it's not just nightlife all the time. Miami has a lot of variety no matter your lifestyle. You just have to focus on those areas outside of South Beach to find it. For more information on some of those neighborhoods, check out some of my property tour videos that I'm going to tag here on screen so you could get to know Miami a little bit better. Moving on to number 3, we have weather. Everyone loves to talk about how great the weather in Miami is, and honestly, I tend to hear that a lot from out-of-towners. And while yes, I agree that it is great being able to walk outside in shorts during the winter months, while the majority of the country is dealing with freezing temperatures, I would be remiss if I did not speak about the summer months here in Miami. I like to say that we have 2 seasons, and those are hot and hotter. And trust me when I tell you that when it's hotter, boy, can that be sometimes unbearable. I'm talking about you can't stand outside for 2 minutes hot. And those summer months usually consist of us just traveling from one AC room to another, rarely spending much time outside at all. Look, it may sound like I'm complaining, and maybe I am, but it's one thing to have temperatures in the mid to high 90s, and it's a whole different ballgame when you add high humidity to that. The humidity here is palpable. You can honestly feel the wall of moisture that hits you as you step outside. Don't even get me started about getting into your car when it's left baking in the sun all day. So if you've lived through Miami summer months, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Moving on to number 4, we get to hurricanes. Now, I could have included this alongside with number 3, but in many ways, hurricanes are so specific to Miami, I had to give it its very own segment. Now, of course, there are other places that experience hurricanes, but there's something about how this city handles hurricanes that is unique and sometimes a bit unsettling. Let me explain. A true Miamian, and I mean someone who actually grew up here their entire lives, knows that hurricane season is the price you pay to live in paradise. But what is odd is how most of us who have gone through this process many times over deal with it. And by that I mean we don't. No, seriously, unless it's a category 4 hurricane or higher, most of us don't even bat an eye. Category hurricanes 1 through 3 is handled as a minor inconvenience at best. And the reason why I bring this up is because as a real estate agent, I help a lot of clients relocate from other states, and many times they express their concern about moving here and having to deal with hurricane season. So it's interesting because when you come to see that the city is alerted of a pending storm, half of the city is in pure pandemonium and the other half is not doing much different at all, and well, basically living their life like if it was just another ordinary day. And I am definitely guilty of that. But in case you're wondering, newer homes and condos are required to have hurricane impact and resistant windows and doors, so you should have some peace of mind when you are moving here. So instead of stressing, do what the rest of Miami is doing during that time and have a hurricane party. And no, sadly, I'm not joking about that. That's a real thing. Moving on to number 5, which is sports. And look, I already know before I even get started that I'm gonna get a ton of flack for this one, but this is based on my own experience. So let me just start off by saying that sports is handled very differently here than in a lot of other cities. And by that, I mean, we're not loyal fans. Don't get me wrong, you can find diehard Dolphin fans and Marlin fans pretty much anywhere, but that's a small subset group. As for the rest of Miami, we're fans of winning. So unless your team is headed to the playoffs, most of us won't even show up. And I know that may get some of you mad for me saying this rather, but if you really stop to analyze, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know that this is the truth. When compared to other sports towns that have such a historic tie to their city and to their sports teams, we kind of lag far behind. And I'm part of the problem, so I'm not hating, I'm just stating the facts. Before I go, I promised you guys a bonus at the beginning of this video. So this is number 6, which is the cost of living to income ratio in Miami is one of the worst in the nations. Unfortunately, Miami has some of the lowest wages when compared to other big cities, and the real estate costs here continue to skyrocket, so that gap is only getting larger. So if you're thinking about moving to Miami, you want to make sure you look at the pay wages in your industry, because you definitely don't want to get here and be disappointed. However, I am looking at the bright side on this one, because I do feel and have a lot of hope that these industries and corporations that are migrating from other states to here are going to be able to change that in the years to come and bring some much needed salary relief to residents of this great city. I hope you enjoyed and found value from this video. And before you go, make sure you click on one of these videos that are going to appear on screen to learn more about Miami real estate. Subscribe to the channel for more Miami real estate content, and help support this channel and me by clicking that thumbs up button. As always, guys, thank you so much for making it this far, and I will see you all next week. God bless.